wasn't there yet. This has to do with a program. We all have something like that. There's a whole group of habit patterns attached to. A whole group of almost like your body runs on autopilot, and sometimes in the opposite direction of where you want it to go. This is the beginning of being able to change that. What's fascinating about understanding the part of the anatomy called the Mudra Adhura is it takes it all the way up into the galaxies, but all the way back down to our most primal instincts here on this planet. Through understanding these parts of the anatomy, we begin to understand what used to be known as sacred sexuality. We begin to understand our gender and what it means to run frequency to our gender. And we begin to understand what it used to mean to have a gender twin with the sun planet and to be able to reach the Anataleya and Aganataleya states where all the Merkabas, all the Merkaba fields, the dimensional ones, the density level ones, all the way up the entire vector state could align on the proper axis. And this has to do with the cosmic clock. To get to the Anataleya or the Aganataleya state, you need to have your Merkaba vertical axis and horizontal axis, which is called the rod. If you remember, we have the staff as the vertical and the rod as the horizontal. They need to align in particular ways to allow frequency to circulate openly between the density and dimensional levels all the way up. While we have these planetary distortions that are coded into our shields and into our DNA, from the fact that we pass through the solar gates just to get into incarnation on this planet, we cannot reach the full Anataleya state or Anataleya state. Now, by activating this particular part of the body, the Mudra Adhura begins to change all that. The reason it was not done before, the reason it wasn't done the day after 208,216 BC, was because the only time enough frequency is available to do this is during Hithara Hitha 1 cycle. And we have just gone through, in May, we went through a Hithara cycle, which is the electrical peak cycle, where the planetary, galactic, and universal level Merkabas reach their peak spin speed together, and certain configurations of Merkaba happen that allow for reset of the natural Christos T value, which is the eternalized mathematical pattern in the shields. In August, we went through the Hitha 1, the correspondent of Hithara. If there's a Hithara, there will be a Hitha 1 following it. That's the magnetic peak. When the magnetic Merkabas all the way up the scale reach their peak spin speed and go through a transformation that allows for the magnetic portions of the divine blueprint in Christos